TV Piedmont Channel 60. I'm your host, Brian Carter, alongside Ryan Orlovsky. Get your popcorn ready because we're putting on a show. You're watching 3 and Out, and Orlovsky's got the rundown.
On the opening tip, we're debating on Donovan McNab's unlikely benching. We'll answer your emails on the 7th inning stretch, and on 3rd down, we'll have a special guest. Join us for a segment on the hottest athletes. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or topic suggestions, feel free to email us at 3andoutsports@gmail.com. Remember, all emailers receive a free 3 and Out pen.
Nice. Lots of drama in Philadelphia. Phillies fans can be satisfied, but not the Eagles fans. Star quarterback Donovan McNab hasn't had an impact year as he has helped his team to a 6-5-1 record. Not so good. However, in a terrible loss to the Ravens, McNab was benched in favor of backup Kevin Kolb in a 10-7 game at that time. Coach Andy Reid felt McNab was more of a liability to the team. He ended up starting on Thanksgiving anyways and did pretty good. So the benching didn't last long. But Orlovsky, was the benching of McNab justifiable?
I believe for the time being it was. I mean, in this division especially with the Cowboys, and every game is crucial in this division, and right now they're 6-5-1. But before that game, I mean, Philly was like, they had their playoff hopes on the line right there in that game. And I think all Reid was trying to do was he was just trying to create a spark. Just trying to get his team to play underneath, to just, give him a boost because, I mean, they were playing absolutely horrible that game against Baltimore. They pulled him. He was 8 for 18. He had 2 interceptions in the first half. It's a quarterback rating of 13.2, so he clearly wasn't getting it done.
Yeah, but it's still a terrible idea. McNab is a 5-time Pro Bowler. You just don't take your man out in a situation like that because, yeah, he struggled. He threw 2 interceptions, 8 of 18 passing, you said. But Kolb didn't do much better, but he was in there. He was 10 of 23, 73 yards, 2 interceptions as well. Won an NFL record 108-yard return, a pick 6 by Ed Reed of Baltimore. Reed makes McNab look like the scapegoat for this offense that's just performing bad all season, or exceeding, I should say. They should have put McNab back in to start the second half. He made his point clear when he pulled him for maybe a set of downs. Put him back in there. You saw Kolb was struggling anyways. You don't take your seasoned vet out in a 3-point game, in a game that's got playoff implications on the line. It was a 3-point game at that point. Eagles still had a chance to win that game.
But when they put the backup in, that game just basically got out of hand. They ended up losing that game 36-7. I think that's the main reason why they kept him in for the rest of the game. But before that point, against Cincinnati the week before, I mean, he had a quarterback rating of 50.9. He threw 3 interceptions. So McNab really wasn't playing well. And like I said, Philly's playing for their playoffs right now, so something had to be done. I mean, you see this happen all the time in the NFL. I remember when Bill Cowher did it a couple of years ago, and it actually was a playoff game. He pulls Cordell Stewart and puts in Tommy Maddox. You've seen it happen in Arizona where they pull Reinhardt and put in.
Right, but you say that, but do the Eagles have a backup like that? No, they have Kevin Kolb. He's not a Kurt Warner backing up someone else. You know what I'm saying? He's not a legitimate go-to guy. The guy's had 9 pass attempts in his career. Coming into that game, played not even a full quarter of experience. You don't put him in place of your veteran, your big-time leader. So is he better than Kolb? Yes. Therefore, keep him in that ball game. Kolb is a second-year pro, as I mentioned. They both played with the same offense. They both played terrible, and it's because they don't have a running game. The Eagles have not used their running game to its full capacity this season. And Andy Reid has been highly criticized for that because there's no duality in that offense. They have just a pure passing game, and McNab can exceed. No quarterback can exceed in conditions like that when all you're going to do is end up passing the ball. You got to sometimes put in a few running plays. And Brian Westbrook's been hurt. Missed a few games this season, but at the same time, you got to use him more than that. When he was there, they didn't use him that much.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, they were trying to create this spark, but in doing so, I think it proved to Donovan McNab that, oh, wow, I better watch my back here because, I mean, my coach he's not afraid to pull me now. I mean, I want to be a part of this team. And what that did, I think, is that really helped them the following week against Arizona. They were able to come out 48-20. McNab probably had his best game of the year, rating 121.7. I think he just proved his point.
260 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yeah,
so, I mean,
beautiful. But is it all his fault? No. See, you can't bench a guy just because your offense is playing poorly. You can't bench one guy. As I mentioned, he's making McNab the scapegoat here. He puts him on the bench. It's not all his fault. No, it's not all his fault. Could you argue that he's made some poor decisions as of late? Absolutely. You can definitely do that. He's not playing his best football.
This guy doesn't even know the rules of the time, what is that?
Well, and you know what? I've actually heard a lot of NFL players back him up and say that, hey, we didn't actually know that either. So, I mean, a lot of people don't even know the history of the game they're playing, and much less all the rules. I mean, that's for referees to know. But my point is, McNabb doesn't deserve this treatment at all. He needs to go ahead and audition for his next team. That's what I think he needs to do. So I think he needs to get out there hopefully he doesn't get benched again, because that was a mistake, obviously. So if he gets back out there, he needs to just start auditioning for his next team. Play even harder and show them that, even without a running game in that offense, that he can still exceed in those conditions. But another thing that, Philly they've not made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. And a lot of times people think McNabb is the mixed scapegoat, but that's not true. You don't need to do that. He's not been given the tools to succeed. And a lot of people have told me this that are Eagles fans, that there's been the absence of a tight end. There's been little to no talent in the receiver position, mediocre receivers at best, especially this year. They have some good players out there that can catch the football, but they've never had the legitimate 1-2. Terrell Owens was the biggest receiver as of late that they have had, but with all the things going on between him and McNabb, and T.O. can't get along with anybody, he had to go. But the one year they had that big go-to receiver, they made it to the Super Bowl.
I can agree with you in that aspect, but like I keep saying, he's just trying to create this spark because he really doesn't have the players around him. You're right, but you saw what happened when he had Terrell Owens. The guy showed he was at one time. He was a great quarterback. He still may be a great quarterback, and I agree with you in the fact that if Philadelphia is going to have a chance, they're going to have to do it behind McNabb. Because clearly Kolb's not going to be the guy that's going to get it done. If they want to have any
why
chance
bench him? Why put Kolb back in a playoff?
Like you were saying, in a way he was the scapegoat, but Reed was just trying to create a spark for his team because nothing else seemed to be working. At that point in time, it was the only option. And it seemed to have worked, right? Especially against Arizona. You saw McNabb answer.
Yeah, well, this is an underachieving team, though, altogether. And I have to say, I hate cussing on this show, but you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And that's basically what the Eagles are. They don't have a good team feeling. It's a bad team that they're on right now. Not everyone's gelling at the same time, and there's not a lot of great talent. So many times McNabb has been ridiculed, for saying that he wants better receivers out there. But you know what? He's right, man. Give the guy somebody to catch the ball, and for the love of God, Andy Reid, run the ball every now and then. Otherwise, offenses or defenses can expect the run, or they can expect the pass, and then the trickle runs you throw in there, they're going to be able to make a stop. So let's go ahead and do our game balls before we end the segment.
Toss me that football, Brian.
Yes, sir.
I got to give mine to my boy James Harrison, Pittsburgh Steelers. Huge win last week, 33-10 over the New England Patriots. Harrison forced 2 fumbles in that game. He had 2 sacks. He had 10 tackles in the game. So I got to give mine to James Harrison.
All right, I'm going to have to give mine to Tony Romo. Tony Romo, what makes him my game ball person is that he actually made a homeless man's day by taking him to a trip to the movies. He just walked by, saw a homeless guy on the side of the road, and said, hey, I'm going to take you to a movie. So this guy's a role model. It's a little ironic here, but he's also changed, he changed the tire of a couple on the side of the road, So Tony Romo, he may be able to not be able to, he might botch an occasional extra point snap, but, he's not going to botch someone that needs help. So that's who's going to get my game ball. We need a break, but there's more ahead. Just keep your money maker where it's at. We'll check our emails on 7th Inning Stretch. We're watching 3 and Out.